Hi all. Once again I welcome all of you on behalf of Riju and PSK online classes. Today we are talking about chemical bonding and molecular structure. So let's start with our first question, and in that way let us be familiar with the theory of the chapter. See, we are given with four species: NH2 minus, PCl3, water and BF3. Question: out of these four compounds, which one contain 3 bond pair and 1 lone pair? See, here I am teaching you a method how to get the number of bond pairs and lone pairs. See, let's start with our first option, NH2 minus. See, I am just writing NH2 minus. See, what we need to do there, we need to calculate the total number of valence electrons. So, total number of valence electron. Let us calculate that. Here, sigma of valence electron equals, nitrogen has how many valence electron? It has 5 valence electron. So, let me write there 5 plus hydrogen. Hydrogen, 1 valence electron. But in this method, it's just a method only, not any other proof is not there. So just a method. In this method, we need to consider the valence electron of hydrogen as that of halogen. Means, in this particular case, we are considering the valence electrons of hydrogen as 7. So how many hydrogen is there? 2 hydrogen is there. So we have 2 into 7. And 1 minus charge is there. What is the meaning of minus charge? 1 electron extra. So you need to add that electron. So what is the total number of valence electron here? Let us add this together. So when we add this together, you can see that 2 plus 7 comes as 14. 14 plus 6 means 20. So we have got a number 20 here. And from this number only, we need to find how many bond pairs and how many lone pairs are there. For that, what you need to do, you need to split this number into 2, such that the first number is the higher multiple of 8, which is possible from the digit. See, we have a 20, and from this digit, the higher multiple of 8 is 16. Take out that 16. So I am writing here 16, and what is the remainder? Remainder is 4. And now you have to divide the 16 by 8, 4 by 2. What's the number you get here? You got the 2 here. And the next also you can see that you got a 2, which means we have a 2 bond pair and 2 lone pair. So here we got the 2, means we have a 2 bond pair. Similarly, in this case also we got 2, which means 2 lone pair. So how many lone pairs and bond pairs are there? That's what we calculated here. Similarly, let's try the same method in the next compound. What is the next compound? PCl3. So let me write PCl3 here. PCl3. Isn't it? See, as I told you here, first of all, let's find out the valence electron, sigma of valence electron. So we are finding sigma of valence electron, which will be equals. How many valence electrons are there in phosphorus? 5. So I can write there 5 plus, and chlorine has how many valence electron? 7. So 3 into 7 will have a 3 into 7. Then total what comes there? 3 into 7 means 21. 21 plus 5 means 26. So I can write there 26. And now we need to split this number again, as I said earlier. Take out the maximum higher multiple of 8 from this digit. So you'll be getting 24. 24 plus remainder is 2. Divide the first number by 8. So divide the second number by 2. So what you get here? You get 3 as the first one and 1 as the second. Means we have a 3 bond pair and 1 lone pair. So obviously what you get here? 3 bond pair and 1 lone pair. So what is the total number of lone pairs and bond pairs present? In this case, it's 3 and 1. See, our question asks about 3 bond pair, 1 lone pair contains in which of the following compounds? So what's the answer there? We have got the second one. So what the answer over here? Second one. And see, I'm not talking again with the rest of the two compounds, that you can practice yourself. See, in the next question, they are given four options: NO2 minus, NH2 minus, NO2 minus, NO3 minus, NH4 plus, NO3 minus, SCN minus, NH2 minus. Question: same hybridization comes in which of the following pairs? See, as I told you earlier, how to find out the number of bond pairs and lone pairs. The same manner we need to follow in this case also. So in that way we can find out the steric number, and from the steric number we need to get the hybridization. So I am taking the first two pairs. What is the first two pairs? NO2 minus and NH2 minus. Let's take that. See, first one we have a NO2 minus, and what is next? NH2 minus. And now let's check. See, I have told you earlier what to do to find the number of bond pairs and lone pairs. Find the sum of valence electron. Here also you go with the same procedure. See, nitrogen has how many valence electron? 5 valence electron. Plus oxygen has how many valence electron? 6. So 2 into 6 comes 12. So I can write there 12 plus one negative charge is there, so that we'll have an extra 1. So what is the total number of valence electron comes here? 18. So total number of valence electron comes in this case as 18. And what about NH2 minus? See, nitrogen 5 plus. I have told you in case of hydrogen, you have to consider 7. See, even if you consider the valence electron of hydrogen as 1, in the determination of hybridization, it's not a problem. But still I am going with the valence electron of hydrogen as 7 only. So 7. So we have with 2 hydrogen. So we have with 2 into 7 plus 1 minus charge. So we need to add 1 electron. So what will come as total? You can see that 2 into 7 is 14. So 14 plus 6. So 14 plus 6, you are getting a 20. See, I have got 18 in one case and next case I have got 20. By seeing this itself, I'll say that both of these do not have same hybridization. Similarly, so anyway, let me say what is the hybridization of this species. See, what I need to do, as in the case of earlier one, I have to split this into 2, 16, and what is next remainder? 2. Divide 16 by 8, 2 by 2. What do you get there? You are getting a 2 plus 1. 2 plus 1 means you get a 3. So steric number is 3. Please try to understand, whenever you have steric number 2, hybridization is sp. When you have steric number 3, hybridization is sp2. Steric number 4, sp3. Steric number 5, sp3d, and so on. So here you have got 3 as the steric number. If you got 3 as the steric number, hybridization is sp2. Similarly, you try with the next one. In this case, you got 20. So here the splitting will be 16 plus 4. So 16 divided by 8, 4 by 2. What do you get total? 4. 4 means if the steric number is 4, hybridization is sp3. So in the first option, NO2 minus and NH2 minus do not have a same hybridization. So let's think about next option. What is the next option? NO2 minus and NO3 minus. Let's check that. So we have a NO2 minus and NO3 minus. So first of all, let me write there NO2 minus. See, NO2 minus already I have calculated. What is for NO2 minus? sp2. So let me write NO2 minus hybridization is sp2. What about NO3 minus? Let's find it. So when we write NO3 minus, See, I have told you what's the procedure. Let's find the sigma of valence electron. Then we'll be getting 5 plus 3 into 6 plus 1, which means 4 into 6. 4 into 6 means 24. 24 is a perfect division by 8. So we can divide this by 8. So what you get there? 3. 3 means hybridization is sp2. See, in second option, NO2 minus and NO3 minus both have a same hybridization. So our answer is NO2 minus and NO3 minus. And now, if you go with the next option, we have NO3 minus. We already find out for NO3 minus sp2. And what about for NH4 plus sp3? You can practice in the same manner. I am not solving that. Next, we have SCN minus and NH2 minus. That also you can practice yourself. So in this particular question, our answer is option 2. In next question, what we are talking, geometry of electron pair in S of 6. And they are given the options: octahedral, trigonal bipyramidal, square pyramidal, and pentagonal planar. Anyway, first of all, by knowing VCPR theory, we'll delete the option or we'll eliminate the option pentagonal planar because we have not studied such a structure. And you know S of 6. And I think I don't want to explain anything about this because you know S of 6 is an ideal example for octahedral geometry. But still, how we get it, isn't it? So that's what we are discussing here. We know S of 6. See, I can write here. And first of all, as I told you in earlier case, you have to find out the sigma of valence electron. So when you find out sigma of valence electron, what you get there, you are getting 6 plus 6 into 7. So 6 plus 6 into 7 means, see, we are getting 48. 48 means we can divide this by 8, which will be equal 6. So we got the steric number 6. Actually, in this case, it is not only steric number, it is the number of electron pairs. There is no lone pair. We have got no remainder there. If we get some remainder, then only lone pair will be there. But in this case, we don't have any remainder. Means we have a 6 bond pair. So 6 bond pair means, according to VSCPR, it's an example for AB6 geometry. You know, whenever you have a AB6 geometry, according to VSCPR theory, these bond pairs will try to keep the maximum distance between them. So in order to keep in that way, which structure it will be adopting? So definitely you know that the structure adopted by S of 6 will be in this manner. See, sulfur at the center, 1 fluorine on top, 1 at the bottom, and similarly here also you will be having a F. So fluorine atoms are there. And this is what called octahedral geometry. You know what is the specialty of octahedral geometry? All the angles are same and all the distance between these bonds are same. So it's a perfectly symmetric structure. And they may ask, so how many total 90-degree angles are there in this case? So what will be your answer? Suppose if somebody asks you how many total 90-degree angles are there, your answer must be 12. Why 12 comes? See, in this plane, you have a 190-degree here. Next, so in that we have 490-degree here itself. Then upper plane and bottom also, you have 4 plus 4. So how many total 90-degree angle is there? Suppose if such a question comes, your answer is, you will have a 12 into 90-degree angles are there in this case. And suppose if they ask, how many 180 is there? So 180, you can say that this angle, 180, this is 180, this is 180. So 3 180 angles are possible in this case. And most probably they will be asking about how many 90-degree angles are there? 12 90-degree angles are there. So our option in this case is first one means octahedral. And now you know what is the second option? Trigonal bipyramidal. And you know when trigonal bipyramidal comes, whenever we have a geometry like this, see AB5 geometry. So whenever we have a AB5 geometry, then you can expect a trigonal bipyramidal structure. You know, a perfect example for this you have studied already, it's the PCL5. Similarly, we have a square pyramidal. Can you give me one example for square pyramidal? Or what type of compounds exhibit square pyramidal? So please try to understand, square pyramidal compounds are formed by AB4L2. So square pyramidal compounds are formed by AB4L2. And a very nice example for us, it's nothing else, HCF4. So I can write the compound here, it's nothing else, HCF4. So our answer in this particular case is octahedral. See, in this question, they are given 4 options and they're asking what is the correct order of bond angle. See, bond angle is decided by hybridization, geometry, number of lone pairs, all these things, and what about the electronegativity. So all these things together constitute the bond angle. And if hybridization, lone pair, if everything is perfect, then we have to think about electronegativity. But in this case, let's see the structures one by one. I am not explaining once again how to find out these structures. So straight I am coming to the structure. See, first one, we have a NO2 plus. And if you find out sum of valence electron, and if you find out steric number or number of bond pair and lone pair, you can see that this is an example for sp hybridization. And the structure of this is linear. So what is the geometry of the first compound? You will get as linear. Whereas next one, NO2 and NO2 plus. So we have a next NO2. Similarly, next compound is NO2 minus. Both have a same hybridization. What is the hybridization in this case? sp2. So just I am writing, you can find out from your side. So here hybridization is sp2. Here also you can see that hybridization is sp2. But a small difference is there in these two cases. Let me draw the shape. See, in first case we have a N double bond O, then coordinate bond O. Here we have a one lone electron. It's not lone pair, one lone electron only. You know what the speciality of NO2? NO2 has the brown color and it contains one odd electron that you studied in different chapters. So this is what the structure of NO2. And if we talk about NO2 minus, you can see that the prime difference is nothing else. The lone pair is present here, but here only lone electron is present. So here we have a double bond O and here we have a coordinate bond O. See, in this case hybridization is linear. So hybridization linear means bond angle 180. So there is no doubt who has maximum bond angle, it's for NO2 plus. See, NO2 plus has maximum bond order in option 3. See to that. NO2 plus has highest bond order in option 3. So obviously that will be your answer. But see NO2, after that NO2 minus. See here, whenever we have a NO2 minus, we have a one lone pair, but here one lone electron. Whenever lone pair increases, repulsion will be more in this case. Whenever the repulsion is more, the bonds comes together, so the bond angle will be less. So we have got the option as 3 as correct. See, I have told you, bond angle of a compound is not only decided by hybridization or structure, it depends on number of lone pair and also it depends on electronegativity. If all the other parameters are same, then only we need to think about electronegativity. There we need to mind one point. If the electronegativity of the central atom increases, bond angle increases. If the electronegativity of the central atom decreases, bond angle increases. Please keep this also in mind. So next question. See, we have 4 species there. It's not 4 species, 4 bonds. Sulfur-sulfur linkage, oxygen-oxygen bond, selenium-selenium bond, tellurium-tellurium bond. And which of these have a highest bond energy? That's the question. See, what the concept we studied, bond energy, so I can say that bond strength, first point I am writing, bond strength. It's inversely proportional to size. That's what we studied. If bond strength is inversely proportional to size, bond energy also inversely proportional to size. And when you talk about size, oxygen has the small size, so we expect maximum bond strength in the case of oxygen. So how about the order of bond energy? The expected order of bond energy. See what I am writing? Expected order of bond energy. See, what is the expected order of bond energy? It's oxygen greater than, sulfur greater than, selenium greater than, tellurium. But remember, like fluorine, oxygen also has that special character. What is that character? Due to small size, electron repulsion will be predominant. So in this case, we are expecting maximum bond strength and higher energy. But due to small size of oxygen, there exists electron repulsion. As a result of that, this bond is weaker than we expected. So the right order is not this. This is wrong. But instead, what will come as the right order? Sulfur will be greater than oxygen. In that way, this order will be followed. So who has the higher bond energy? It's not answer OO as we expected. It's for sulfur. So our answer in this option is SS. And definitely, see, bond energy do not depends only on this size. It depends on the bond order also. Suppose if we have a species like this, we have a carbon single bond. Next, carbon double bond carbon. Next, we have a carbon triple bond carbon. So where we have a higher bond energy, obviously you know that as the number of bonds increases, what will happen? Bond energy also will increase. So in this particular question, our answer is not OO, our answer is SS. See the next question. Out of the 4 species, let me read this 4 species. CO3 2 minus, PO4 3 minus, NO3 minus, NO2 minus. In which of these following species p-pi d-pi bond is present? So we normally studied what is a pi bond. We have studied in case of carbon. See, we have studied in case of carbon, one p orbital present here and its overlap laterally with the next p orbital. So this pi bond is called p-pi bond. So this is what called the p-pi. But when we talk about this species, here in one compound we have p-pi d-pi bond. So what will be that option? See, in carbon we don't have a 3p or we don't have a 3d. And in oxygen also we don't have a 3p or 3d. So in the first case, we don't have anything to talk about 3p or 3d. So there is no involvement of d orbital in pi bond. Similarly, nitrogen and oxygen. Nitrogen belongs to the second period. Oxygen also belongs second period. There we don't have a 3s or 3p or 3d. Then how they will be able to form d pi p pi? It's not possible. But in the second option, you see to that we have phosphorus and oxygen. And you know, phosphorus is an element of a third period. And third period, we have 3p and vacant 3d orbital. So when we draw the structure of PO4 3 minus, you know that P double bond O, next we have a O minus, here also O minus, here also O minus. Here we have a pi bond, and this pi bond is formed not by the overlap of p and p orbitals, but instead it is because of the overlap of p orbital from oxygen and d orbital from p. So where we have a p pi d pi orbital overlap, not in first option, not in third option, not in fourth option, but on the second one we have a phosphorus involved there. You know, phosphorus is an example for a element present in third period. If any element comes from third period, then there is a chance of a p pi d pi formation. So in this particular question, see, they had given XCF4, XCOF2, XCO2F2, XCO4. Actually, all these noble gas compounds we need to mind very thoroughly because questions can come from that side. And what they're asking with, which of these has a planar structure? See, I have told you earlier how to find out the number of bond pair and lone pair. So after finding the number of bond pair and lone pair, then we can think about it structure. Let's start with XCF4. See, XCF4. First of all, you need to calculate sigma of valence electron. So you are calculating sigma of valence electron. So when you calculate sigma of valence electron, in this case we get 8 plus 4 into 7. You know, 8 plus 4 into 7, 28 plus 8. What is 28 plus 8? 36. So you got the number 36 here. And 36, it's not a multiple of 8. So what you need to do? You divide or split this number such that the highest multiple of 8 you have to take out from here. So you are getting, it's 32 plus 4. Divide the first number with 8, second number by 2. So what you got here? You got 32 by 8 is 4. So you can write 4 here. And 4 by 2 is 2. Means you got 4 bond pair and 2 lone pair. 4 bond pair and 2 lone pair means this compound is an example for AB4L2. See, AB4L2. AB4L2, obviously you know that you studied earlier, it's a square planar structure. See, I can draw the shape of this particular compound. You can see that how about the arrangement of XCF4. See, XC at the center and along the corners of a square we have a fluorine. And now what about the position of lone pair? One lone pair up and the next one is down. So what is this shape called square planar? So in their question they're asking which of the following has a planar structure. Obviously our answer is XCF4 has a planar shape. And what about the other compound? In the same manner, you can see that XCOF2, please try to understand it's an example for a T-shaped compound. You know, T-shaped compound means it's an example for a AB3L2. So AB3L2 means what is the shape of the compound? It's an example for T-shape. Similarly, what is XCO2F2? XCO2F2 is an example for AB4L. AB4L, it's an important structure. You studied the same structure in the case of SF4. What is the geometry of that? It's seesaw shape. So in this case, we have a SAB4L. You can write seesaw shape. And what about XCO4? And XCO4, please try to understand, it's an example for a tetrahedral because you have hybridization sp3 there. So in this particular question, our answer is XCF4. It has a square planar structure. See, in this question, which of the following compound is isostructural? Actually, to find isostructural, we can go through we need to find out lone pair, bond pair, and what is the geometry of the compound. In that way, we have to go, really speaking. But apart from that, we have a shortcut here, but this may not work everywhere. See to that, how I am explaining. You try to understand one thing. In case if the number of electrons are same, then they will have a same structure, same geometry. And most of the problems are designed in that manner only. See to that. See, you have XCF2 and IF2 minus. You have seen one speciality. In both the case, you have two fluorine atom. Two fluorine atom means they have same number of electrons in two fluorine atom. And now let's check the other species. In the other species, here we have a xenon. How many electrons are there? 8. And I minus. How many valence electrons are there? Iodine, normally 7. But one more excess electron means 8. So here in the first case, you can see that you have a same number of electrons. If they have a same number of electron, they have same geometry. Take the point once again, what I told you. No need to find out geometry of these compounds. See, XCF2, IF2 minus. In both the case, two fluorine atoms are there. Leave that fluorine atoms. See the other atoms apart from the common difference, isn't it? See, we have Xc. How many valence electrons? 8. And I minus. I valence electrons 7, and along with that one more electron. So how much we got? We got 8. So this have a same number of electron. So they are isostructural. Let's apply the same concept in the next case. Next case, NH3 and BF3. See, I have told you earlier, whenever you are determining hybridization and structure, hydrogen need to be considered as halogen. Means here we have H3, here also H3, or here F3, here also F3. Now the remaining boron, how many valence electrons are there? 3. Nitrogen, how many valence electrons are there? 5. So their valence electrons are not same. So they are not isostructural. Next, CO3 2 minus and SO3 2 minus. See, in both the case common O3 2 minus. Leave that. Apart from that, carbon and sulfur. Carbon has the 4 valence electron and sulfur has a 6 valence electron. So they are not same in the number of valence electron. So these are not isostructural. And the next piece also, see to that, we have PCl5 and ICl5. Cl5, Cl5. Both have same number of electron. What about phosphorus and iodine? Phosphorus have 5 valence electron, iodine has a 7. So there also valence electrons are not same. So only one option is live there. So what is that? First one, they are same structure. In this question, which of the following has maximum bond angle? And see the options they are given: NH3, NH4 plus, PCl3 and SCl2. See, if you want to know about the hybridization, if you want to know about the bond angle, we need to find the hybridization first of all, or the shape first of all. See, NH3, I have discussed already what about how we find out hybridization and geometry. In that way, I am just drawing the shape of the molecule. So nitrogen, we have one lone pair here, and next hydrogen. So here one lone pair present. But when we come to NH4 plus, you can see that in NH4 plus, there is no lone pair. There is no lone pair. Okay. And in PCl3 is exactly like ammonia. So PCl3, I'm just drawing P lone pair here and Cl. Next Cl, here also Cl. SCl2. SCl2 is just like water. I can draw the shape. Yes, here we have a lone pair. Here also we have lone pair. Then we have a Cl. Here also we have a Cl. See, one point what you need to get from here, as the number of lone pair increases, bond angle decreases. That's the point you need to take, nothing else. As the number of lone pair increases, if the lone pair increases with same hybridization, see, all these pieces have same hybridization, but only one thing, the lone pair increases. If the lone pair increases, please try to understand bond angle decreases. In NH4 plus, we don't have any lone pair. If there is no lone pair, it will have a maximum bond angle. So which one has maximum bond angle? Where we don't have any lone pair, there we have a maximum bond angle. So our answer is second. And if you talk about which one has the least bond angle, you know, SCl2. In this case, how many lone pairs are there? 2 lone pairs are there. So repulsion is maximum, bond angle is less. So the point what you need to take, if hybridization is same, then if lone pair increases, bond angle decreases. See the next question. It's regarding dipole moment and polarity. Let's listen to the question carefully. Water is polar, whereas BF2 is not. Actually, they had given option, you can see here. Electronegativity of fluorine is greater than that of oxygen. Water has hydrogen bond, whereas BF2 exists as discrete unit. Water is linear, BF2 is angular. Water is angular, BF2 is linear. I think there is not much worry about the answer. Answer you can select out. But let's discuss on this dipole moment. See, I'm just considering the first compound BF2. You know, BF2 has a linear shape. So that, see, in this BF2, who has higher electronegativity? Fluorine has higher electronegativity. So fluorine will be pulling the electron to that side. So dipole is to that direction. Here, the same extent dipole to the opposite direction. In that way, these two dipoles are getting cancelled each other. So you can say that dipole moment mu equal to 0. So in first case, dipole moment mu equals 0. And you are familiar with a same kind of compound like, you know, carbon dioxide. So in carbon dioxide, what we have a C double bond O, here also double bond O, dipole to this side, and here also dipole. So what will happen? In this case also, it will cancel each other. So you get dipole moment mu equals 0. So whenever you consider any symmetrical molecule, dipole moment will cancel each other. Say for example, we have BF3. So in BF3, what about the dipole moment? See to that, BF3, there is no lone pair. It's a symmetrical structure. So everything will cancel each other. So dipole moments are in the opposite manner like this. So dipole moment in this case also equal to 0. Dipole moment in BF2 is 0. Dipole moment in carbon dioxide equals 0. Dipole moment in BF3 equals 0. Now, let's see some other example. See, we have a water. Why water dipole moment? Why water has dipole moment? See to that. Because of its special structure. See, I'm just drawing water molecule. You know, water has 2 lone pairs. Water has two lone pairs. You know that lone pair dipole is always tending to away from the central atom. So here these two lone pairs are pulling the electron to that side, isn't it? And hydrogen, oxygen, who is more electronegative? Oxygen. So pull totally to upward direction. Here dipoles are in the same direction, so they are getting added each other, so it is not getting cancelled. So water is a molecule, not a symmetric molecule, so that its dipole is not getting cancelled each other. But in the case of BeF2, you can see that it is getting cancelled each other. So what the apt answer you can get from here, water is angular, so it is not getting cancelled. So because of that, dipole ones are not getting cancelled each other. But in case of BeF2, you know, it's a linear molecule, so that its dipoles are getting cancelled each other. So which is the right answer for us? It's fourth option. See in the next question. In BRF3, lone pair occupies equatorial position to minimize. You know what is the geometry of BRF3 molecule and hybridization of BRF3? See, I have told about the method how to calculate hybridization and the geometry earlier. And right now, please try to understand this compound is an example for AB3L2 type. So I'm just drawing the geometry of the molecule. See, we have bromine at the center. Next, fluorine here. Next, here also one fluorine. Here also one fluorine. Then we have a lone pair. This is the geometry of BRF3, and you know this structure is called a T-shape. And what type of repulsion is there? See, the set lone pair occupies equatorial. See, these two bonds are called axial, and obviously this is equatorial only. And why it occupies here? To minimize lone pair bond pair repulsion. To minimize bond pair repulsion. To minimize lone pair and lone pair bond pair repulsion. Lone pair repulsion. So please try to understand. See here what type of repulsion is there. You know, there is a repulsion between these two lone pairs. What do you call for that? Lone pair repulsion. At the same time, see, here we have equatorial and this is what we have axial. So equatorial axial bond angle is 90. So what repulsion again there? Lone pair bond pair repulsion. So we have a lone pair repulsion is there. Similarly, we have a lone pair bond pair repulsion. So your answer for this particular question is 3. But here, I would like to add two more compounds. First compound is PCl3F2 and next compound is PF3Cl2. Suppose if somebody asks you to draw the shape of these two compounds, you may draw this as wrong. Let's see what the correct structure of these two compounds. See, I'm just drawing first one, PCl3F2. See, PCl3F2, phosphorus at the center. So here fluorine. Next, here also fluorine. Similarly, you can see that so this is PCl3F2. So this compound is PCl3F2. Similarly, I am drawing PF3Cl2. See the difference when I am drawing the next compound. P at the center. Next, here we have again fluorine. Here we have a fluorine. Now here fluorine, here chlorine, here chlorine. See, in the first compound, you don't have any dipole. Why you don't have any dipole? These two fluorine atoms are arranged in opposite manner. So the dipole is getting cancelled. Here dipole is equal to 0. But in the next case, you can see that dipole is not equal to 0. Because it's not a perfectly symmetrical compound. So please try to understand this case dipole moment is not equal to 0. But in both the case you have noticed one thing. See, I kept fluorine on the axial line. I kept fluorine on the axial bond. See why we are keeping fluorine on the axial? Whenever we are arranging the elements, the most electronegative atom must occupy the axial position. So in order to mention that point only, I have drawn these two structures. So please try to understand, whenever you are drawing PCl3F2 and PF3Cl2, the most electronegative fluorine must be kept in the axial position. In that way, if you arrange, you can see that the first compound do not have any dipole moment, but the second compound has some dipole moment. See, in this particular question, what is the correct order of covalent character? They had given options. First one, lithium chloride, sodium chloride, beryllium chloride. See, here this is an application of Fajans rule. So just to mention about Fajans rule, I included this problem. What is Fajans rule? Fajans rule talks about covalent character. See, what is Fajans rule? That's what our next discussion. According to Fajans rule, covalent character directly proportional to size of anion and inversely proportional to size of the cation. Here anionic part we don't want to mind because anion everywhere chlorine only. So we need to say that covalent character inversely proportional to size of cation. So covalent character inversely proportional to size of character. This is one point. And one more point you need to understand, please. Covalent character directly proportional to charge of the cation. So next point I am writing, covalent character directly proportional to charge of cation. See the cations present there. Let's see to that. We have lithium plus, we have sodium plus and beryllium 2 plus. So we have three cations. First cation you might have seen lithium plus. Second cation it's Na plus, and third cation beryllium 2 plus. So which one has higher charge? He will form a covalent compound. So B2 plus has smaller charge, so it will form more covalent character compound. So which one has maximum covalent character? No doubt beryllium 2 plus. Now among lithium plus and sodium plus, both have same charge. But we know covalent character inversely proportional to size. So size is smaller for lithium, so covalent character is more there. So what is the order of covalent character? So we have got it, isn't it? So what is Fajans rule? Fajans rule talk about the covalent nature of a bond, isn't it? So if the size of the cation is smaller and size of the anion is bigger, the compound will be more covalent. So that's what we have got it. So our answer, beryllium chloride should be greater, then lithium chloride, then sodium chloride. So option 3 comes as our answer. See again in the next question, they're asking which one of the following has high dipole moment. See, I told you earlier, if a compound is symmetrical, it do not have a dipole moment. So our motto to find which compound is not symmetrical. So let's see one by one. SiF4. So please try to understand, SiF4 is just like our CH4. CH4 means tetrahedral structure. And in this tetrahedral structure, we don't have any lone pair. So I can just write the structure of SiF4. So just like CH4, silicon at the center. Here we have fluorine. Similarly, here also fluorine. Next, fluorine here. Next, fluorine here. See this tetrahedral. You know what the specialty of tetrahedral? All the bonds are equidistant and all the bonds have a same bond angle. So there is no such dipole moment. All the dipoles are getting cancelled each other. So this compound do not have dipole moment. You can write mu equals 0 in this case. Similarly, let's talk about SF4. SF4 geometry. We should not forget that because It's a seesaw shape. So I'm just drawing SFO shape. See to that. Sulfur at the center. So fluorine on top, fluorine at the bottom. Next, here we have a F, here also F. Then we have a lone pair. So this is what SF4. And in this SF4, it's not symmetrical and it contains one lone pair. Because of the presence of this lone pair, its dipole moment is not getting cancelled. So this will have a permanent dipole. And what about HCF4? I have told in earlier problem what the shape of HCF4. HCF4 is square planar, in which all the fluorine atoms are the corners of a square. So corners of a square, it itself says that they are getting cancelled each other. But still I'll draw the shape of that HCF4. So xenon and see where fluorine, here fluorine atoms are present. And now we have one lone pair up, one lone pair down. See, in this compound we have a lone pair, but that lone pairs are oppositely arranged so that the net dipole moment will be equal to 0. So in this case also dipole moment equal to 0. So in case of BF3, you can see that it has a symmetrical structure. See, I'm just drawing symmetrical structure of BF3. I think earlier I had drawn in one problem. So this structure is a symmetrical one. Here all the dipoles are getting cancelled each other. In this case also you can see that the dipole moment comes as equal to 0. So which is our right answer? Right answer is S of 4. So in which of the following compounds all the bonds are not equal? See the options they are given: NF3, ClF3, BF3 and PF3. See to that. So all the bonds are not equal. Let's see the geometry. NF3, it's a trigonal pyramidal. So one lone pair is there. Here we have a fluorine atom. So here all the bonds are equal because all the bonds are in the same manner. And when you talk about ClF3, ClF3 has T shape. So ClF3 has T shape, Cl at the center. Fluorine atoms are arranged axial. One fluorine in equatorial. Next, two lone pair. Please try to understand. In this case, you have two type of bond. One is axial, the other one is equatorial. And you studied which type of bonds are elongated here. Axial bonds are elongated to minimize the repulsion than the equatorial. So here we have two type of bond, axial bonds and equatorial bonds. And which bonds are elongated? Axial bonds are elongated. Which bond is easier to break? Axial bonds are easier to break. So our answer in this case is ClF3. And next compound BF3. See, I'm just drawing here BF3. In last question also I had drawn this BF3, but try to understand in this BF3, you may say as bond order of BF is 1. So you will say that bond order of boron fluorine as 1. But for your information, it's not equals 1. In this case, bond order is not equals 1, but instead you can see that bond order equals 1.33. See why the bond order comes as 1.33 in this case? Because you know that fluorine atom has lone pair. So this lone pair involve in p pi back bonding. As a result of p pi back bonding, Lewis character is minimum in this particular compound that is studied earlier. So for your information, please try to understand. In BF3, boron fluorine bond order is not 1, it's 1.33. And similarly, we have the last compound PF3, it's just like NF3. So in this particular question, where we have different type of bonds or all bonds are not equal. So by hearing that question, please try to understand this can be asked only in trigonal bipyramidal geometry, not in any other case. See in this next question, correct order of CO bond order. Which one? See, they had given all these orders and we are all familiar with these compounds. Let's start with the CO. You know, CO bond order equals 3. So in case of CO, you know, bond order equals 3. We can say in both ways by using molecular MO theory or normal way. So now I discussed in normal manner only. CO has a bond order 3. Now CO2. See, I'm just drawing CO2. You know, C double bond O. Here also double bond O. What's the bond order? Bond order, definitely you can see that it's equals to. So in this particular compound, I can write bond order equals 2. And next CO3 2 minus. See why I introduced to CO3 2 minus here to talk about resonance. See, I'm just drawing C double bond O. Here we have a O minus, here we have a O minus. So you'll think about bond order comes as 1 or 2. But you try to understand, in this particular case, we have a resonance. So I'm just drawing all the resonance forms of this. Next, here CO minus, here double bond O, O minus. Similarly, next one also, C, here O minus, here double bond O, here also O minus. So in this case, you know, bond order of CO is not 1 or 2. It comes in between that. So I can write the bond order of this is equal to 4 by 3, which is equal to 1.33. So we have got the bond order of all the carbon oxygen bonds. In first case you have 3, second case you have 2, last case you have 1.33. So which is the correct order comes here? Second option comes as the right, because CO has the highest bond order, which is equal to 3. And then CO2, it has 2. And next for CO3 2 minus, which has 1.33. So the right answer in this question is option 2. In this particular question, which one has the strongest OO bond? Strongest OO bond means maximum bond order. So strongest OO bond means maximum bond order. All of you please try to understand. To solve this question, you don't want to study MO diagram or MO theory sequence. Just to count the number of electron and write the bond order directly. That's what I am teaching right now. So your other method, definitely I am familiar, you are familiar with that. But what I am teaching right now, no need to be familiar with MO theory. Just count the number of electron, write the bond order. See to that. See, if the number of electron, see I am just writing here number of electron and bond order. So if number of electron is given, how will find out bond order? See, I am writing number of electron 1, 2, 3, 4. First of all, what's the bond order here? 0.5. Next 1. Next 0.5. 0. So the number of electron, if it is 1, bond order is 0.5. If it is 2, bond order is 1. If it is 3, bond order is 0.5. If it is 4, bond order is 0. This sequence will follow for next up to 8. Say again, right? 5, 6, 7, 8. Bond order 0.5, 1. Next again we have a 0.5, then 0. So up to 8, it will follow like this. Now after 8, there is a change in pattern. Let's see to that. So I am writing number of electron and bond order. See, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then what happens with the bond order? See, bond order here 0, now increases by 0.5. So I can write 0.5, next 1, next 1.5, next 2, next 2.5, next 3. And now after 14, what to do? So I am just writing that also. Number of electron and bond order. See, here 14, 16, 17, 18, 19. I forgot to write 15, right? So we have 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Then here bond order is 3. Now bond order decrease. So I can write 2.5, next 2, next 1.5, next 1, next 0.5, last is 0. See, no need to know the electronic configuration. Just by number we can get the bond order. See the number O2 plus, or let's imagine O2. How many electrons are in O2? 16 electrons are there. So if 16 is there, its bond order is 2. Now O2 minus means 17. So what's the bond order there? 1.5. O2 2 minus 18, bond order is 1. And O2 plus means number of electron is 15. So we'll have a bond order is 2.5. So which has maximum bond order? It will have a maximum strength of the bond. So I can say that your option is first one here. And by using this, we can find out magnetic moment also. So you can see the magnetic moment. Here, whoever comes 0.5 in this case, they are paramagnetic. Whoever comes 0 and 1, they are diamagnetic. So up to here, it's not a problem. So after this, we have to just mind.